Hey, we finna react to comparison of the most painful punishments.
You said something wrong about the church in the Middle Ages.
Let's see.
So the Inquisition is after you now. They've used a leather strap to secure a device that looks like a two-way fork with two sharp points on your neck. One of its sides is pushing against your sternum, and the other against your chin. At first, you tried to keep your head up to lessen the pain, but you couldn't stay like this for long. The so-called heretic's fork wasn't deadly, but made the victim suffer from the tiniest move. However, on the scale of pain based on scientific research, this kind of suffering gets only 27 points out of 140.
Oh, hell no.
In this video, you'll find out about the worst kind of torture
in
the history of humankind.
They ass lying.
So, viewer discretion is advised. You have at least a few times in your life been subjected to one of the less obvious kinds of torture. It's just that the executioner wasn't persistent enough when tickling you. In ancient China, this was the primary method of punishing delinquents from noble families, since tickles didn't leave any traces of torture on the body. And the victim was able to recover quite fast if the procedure didn't go too far, of course.
Man!
In European countries,
niggas can tickle me any day, boy. You can always tickle me if I get caught doing some shit. Boy, what? You telling me niggas used to get caught stealing and they'll tickle them? Like, niggas getting attacked by the tickle monster as a punishment? So I'll take that.
The culprit was tied up, and salty water was poured on their feet to make the animal lick them. What's so bad about that, you might ask? It's just that there's an incredible number of nerve endings in the feet, and the goat's rough tongue would irritate them quite a lot. So, after a few hours, the tickling starts inducing not just laughter, but also painful muscle contractions. You lose virtually all control over your body, which causes extreme stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. Moreover, the nerve endings responsible for reacting to tickles also signalize pain. It's just that if we're being tickled for fun, and for a short time, our reaction to stress doesn't go beyond laughter and light sensations in the body. However, if done for hours, this causes the nervous system such overload that the lightest touch causes unbearable physical pain.
Damn.
Now imagine that it's not your feet.
You get sore from tickling?
It's your private parts.
Oh, no!
Interrogation of criminals was accompanied by placing a small bug on the culprit's genitals and covering the insect with a walnut shell so that it didn't escape. The constant irritation of super sensitive areas caused by the bug's movements made the torture unbearable.
Oh my God.
The executioners got any confession they wanted. Eventually, tickle torture would result in death by asphyxiation if the victim developed a throat spasm caused by uncontrollable laughter. Other possible outcomes were cardiac arrest or a brain aneurysm provoked by serious stress. Yet on the pain scale, tickle torture got only 32 points since the suffering it brought was mostly psychological.
No way.
This is very similar to the next kind of torture, the Chinese water torture. At first, the person was immobilized, and then cold water would slowly drip onto their face or head.
Oh, shit.
Gradually, the constant skin irritation caused by the drops and splashes would make the nervous system hypersensitive.
Oh my God, I can imagine that.
And the wait for the next drop would literally start driving the person insane.
Damn.
Maybe you've even seen this torture in movies.
That's like an itch you can't get.
Though. There's no proof that it was ever used in China. This kind of torture was first described by an Italian lawyer on the cusp of the 16th century. In the mid-18th century, German and French doctors attempted to use this method to cure mental disorders. Moreover, the very term Chinese
mental disorders
came into active use owing to a trick by the legendary Harry Houdini. So, does the water drop torture actually work? Since it can look harmless at first glance, a few bloggers have dared to try it out themselves. The water drop torture was also tested by the Mythbusters. All participants knew they were actually perfectly safe and could be freed at any moment.
That's
Yet everyone went through a hellish experience.
Damn.
At first, the experimenters suffered from cold, thirst, psychological tension, and physical discomfort. Then, their entire bodies started aching, and breathing problems arose. It all ended in a panic and desperate pleas to be released.
That is the worst.
In addition, after this episode, the Mythbusters received an anonymous letter whose authors reportedly found out that the Chinese water torture may cause mental issues that persist for 20 hours. So on the pain scale, the water drop torture received 40 points, and a huge question as to whether it was actually used in practice. at least because it was replaced by much crueler kinds of water torture. One of them was the Swedish drink. This name was invented by the Germans. During the 30 Years' War, they became victims of the Swedish army servicemen, mercenaries, or marauders. This method of torture went as follows. Through a funnel, the perpetrators would pour buckets of the most disgusting liquids imaginable into the victim's throat. They used everything from urine and filth and feces.
Oh, hell
no.
no.
The Swedes' way of torturing the civilians to force them to give up their money or food. Not only did the victims feel disgust and humiliation from being subjected to the Swedish drink,
bro, that's wrong,
they also
bro.
contracted deadly diseases.
You don't do that to nobody.
Their stomachs stretched, causing horrific pain.
Ew.
The perpetrators would often use wooden planks to put pressure on the victim's bloated
Oh,
belly
hell
or hit it
no.
with sticks to deepen the suffering.
No
So,
way.
on the pain scale,
It gotta be like a
Swedish drink
60.
got 46
Oh, hell
points
no, that
out
ain't
of a
nothing.
possible 140. Very
You
often,
ain't even getting no
one
way
kind
yet.
of torture ranged from public humiliation, accompanied by intense discomfort, to a death punishment with unbearable suffering. One of such hellish inventions was the king. It's a large board consisting of two halves with a hole between them, used to keep the device on a person's neck. The king wasn't secured in any way, so the culprit had to support the board with their hands and balance it while walking.
What the
To intensify
hell?
the punishment, the person in a king could also be chained, stopping them from ever sitting down. Moreover, the king's parameters would change according to the severity of the punishment. It could weigh anywhere from 9 to 15 kilograms and have a square, rectangular, or disproportionate, irregular shape.
They gotta
Sometimes
walk like
they
that?
were even double or triple. Often a king would be so large that the victim would be unable to touch their face to eat or drink. If they weren't helped by those who cared, the victim would die a slow death of hunger and thirst. Yet the king was also used as an execution device. The convict was placed inside a tall cage made specifically for this purpose. A king would be secured above. Then, a prop would be taken from under the victim's feet, and they would slowly be strangled with the board on their neck.
Yo.
That's how people were executed in China as recently as 1900, suffering excruciating pain.
That's
On the pain
crazy.
scale, king torture sits at 62
Yeah. That's
However,
crazy.
even this horror is far from being the worst thing people ever came up with. Europeans during the Middle Ages were especially creative in their acts of cruelty. It was then that they invented and actively used a contraption called the Judas cradle. It's a spiky wooden or metal pyramid secured on a support with a special clamp over it. First, the victim's arms and legs were tied, and then their trunk was secured with a metal ring attached to the ceiling or the wall with ropes. After this, the person was slowly seated on the pyramid's sharp point. I won't go into the horrific details, since the process caused unbearable pain.
Oh my God!
Such torture could go on for days. If the executioners wanted to receive a
Oh my God! Yo!
Moreover, such torture.
Do you know where that's going? Oh my God! I'm so glad we don't do that no more. I wouldn't have made it.
Could go on for days.
What
if the
the
executioners wanted to receive a confession or other information, but the victim remained silent, they tied weights to their arms and legs, causing the pyramid edges to gnaw at the poor person's body even more.
Oh!
As if that wasn't enough, the Judas cradle was never cleaned, so it became the breeding ground for deadly bacteria.
Ew!
So, even if the victims managed to survive, they often died of infections. At any rate, they remained scarred physically and psychologically for the rest of their lives. That's why the Judas cradle received 79 points on the pain scale.
That shit is
the midpoint.
That
However,
is atrocious.
The first device to go beyond 100 in our list is the oubliette. It's a horizontal tunnel with the only way out in the form of a grated opening above, used as a dungeon. Often, it was so narrow that the prisoners couldn't even sit down. Moreover, oubliettes were built right there in the castle so that the victims could hear human voices and smell the food, causing them even more psychological suffering. Yet, the real torture was the fact that the prisoners were literally forgotten about in these holes, and they slowly died of thirst, hunger, exhaustion, and infections. Compared to this, a Judas cradle execution was a swift way to relieve one's suffering. The oubliette is a kind of immurement, which has been practiced since ancient times on all continents.
Oh, no way.
In the Roman Empire, The most influential Vestals, who had broken their virginity pledge, were sentenced to death. It was against the law to shed their blood, though, so they were immured alive, fated for a slow, desperate death. If you think this insane practice remained in days past, you're wrong. In Mongolia, this barbaric execution method was still in use until at least 1913. So immurement in its different variations receives 108 points on the pain scale. But what if you're not alone in this closed space? Then it's an entirely different kind of punishment. Rat torture. As far back as in the 1st century AD,
I don't fuck with the rats, chat.
Emperor in the history of the Roman Empire, Nero, used rats to torture those who fell out of favor. They say he put the victim into a barrel with hungry rats who quickly ate the person alive. In India, they made criminals wear wide pants, which were first tied around the ankles and then filled with rodents.
Oh my God, they wildin'.
Which body parts suffered the most and how painful it was. However, medieval torturers took it even further. They tied the victims down to immobilize them, then placed a bottomless cage on their abdomens and filled it with rats.
Okay, I heard about this one.
They put hot wood coal on the grates, and the rats became unbearably hot.
And they gonna eat through the stomach?
Gnawing at the cage in desperate attempts to escape. Later, though, the rats realized they were standing on a soft human body and started eating their way out.
Oh, shit.
Sometimes the cage was put on the victim's head, near the mouth, or other body parts. I'll let your imagination fill in the details.
Oh, no, bro. You telling me they putting that over niggas? Oh.
The fact that in South American countries, rat torture was in use until the 1980s.
Damn.
It received 112 points
Sound
on the
about
pain
right.
scale. It would seem that there's nothing worse than this.
That is
but
OC.
Before we get to the most horrifying tortures that scored the maximum of 140 points, there are still 2 more devices. The first of which is the rack. This is another deadly invention of the Middle Ages. It looked like a wooden frame with rollers on both ends. The person's limbs were tied to them, and when the torturers would start turning the rollers, the victim's arms and legs would stretch in different directions.
Ooh.
This caused unbearable pain due to joint displacement,
oh my
muscle
God.
and ligament rupture.
They turning niggas into Mr. Fantastic.
Cases, even bone fractures. The executioners could torture the victim like this for hours or even days to beat the confession or the necessary information out of them. Sometimes, a specifically trained person would supervise the victim's condition to keep them conscious and alive before a specific time. So, it's unsurprising that just threatening someone to send them to the rack would often be enough to obtain the necessary information.
Bro, nigga snitching, you do that to somebody.
116 points on the pain scale.
Yeah, I bet.
However, citizens of ancient Greece managed to outperform even the cruelty of medieval European torturers, being the creators of one of history's most terrifying torture devices, the brazen bull.
Oh, shit.
According to stories, it was built by an Athenian named Perilos as a commission for a Sicilian tyrant, Phalaris, in the 16th century BC.
Who comes up with something like this?
It was a hollow copper statue of a bull.
Like, you know how cold, not even cold, how evil you gotta be to think about a different way or a new way to torture somebody, bro. Like, you gotta be a sick person, bro. Like, super sick.
With a hatch on its side. A person would be pushed inside. The hatch would be shut. And then, the torturers would start a fire under the bull's belly. Furthermore, the statue's nostril structure made the victim's scream sound like the bull's bellow. Yet this barbarism was apparently not enough. So after the execution, the victim's bones were used to make jewelry to then be sold on markets. The inventor of this
sell the person bodies after they put them in the bull?
With tyrants was a bad idea. Since the first person Phalaris tried out the brazen bull on was Perilos himself.
Oh my God.
The man's skin started burning in the places.
They backdoored him? He invented this? And they made him be the first nigga to try it?
Where it touched the metal.
Oh, that's backdoor.
Then, the hot air gradually burned his airways and lungs. He went on to slowly cook alive before choking to death or going unconscious. Before this, though, Perilos went through the agony that reached 130 points on the pain scale. Even this horror, though.
Imagine inventing it, then they putting you through it?
Those sentenced to lynching. It's definitely one of the most barbaric punishments in humanity's entire history. And it hails from Asia, It was used in China, Vietnam, and Korea right until the early 20th century to punish perpetrators of the most heinous crimes like mass murder and high treason, as well as to eradicate the emperor's personal enemies. It comes as no surprise, since the victim would be tied to a pole in a crowded space to turn the execution into public humiliation. Then, a few torturers would slowly cut pieces of flesh out of the convict's arms, legs, and chest.
Oh my
We know from
God.
historical records that during Ling Chi, the victim would suffer from 100 to 3,000 wounds.
Oh, no,
That's why this
folks.
torture is also dubbed death by 1,000 cuts. Although the experts state that with such wounds, a person would most likely die within 20 minutes.
Next nigga put me in the
Sometimes the
bull.
families of the victims would bribe the
It's not funny.
executioners to
That's not funny, bro.
inflict a deadly wound right away.
Bro,
This
a
would
1,000
remove the
cuts?
victim's physical
Yeah, that motherfucker like
But it's
1,000 guys. Wait, what, nigga? Oh my God.
that for the Chinese, Ling Chi was also a spiritual punishment. According to their beliefs, this disfigurement of the body wouldn't allow the victim to be whole and healthy in the afterlife. This horrific execution method officially remained in use in China until 1905.
Oh, damn,
This
that's
type of
not.
torture
That's
received the
recent.
most points on the pain scale, 140. I
Yo,
told
that
you
shit
all
gotta
this
be terrible.
exclusively for educational purposes and to